Welcome to Daryl's Little Corner. With me in the studio tonight is a familiar figure. Dwaila, welcome to Daryl's Little Corner.
Thank you.
We're so glad you
to be
could
here.
make it today. Dwaila carries a dual role in Tippah County. I think a bunch of roles. She's a wife. She's a mother. Grandmother. Lots of stuff. And she's a friend, and she's a doctor. I don't know how she keeps up with all this stuff. But tonight we're gonna welcome her into our bunch. This is her second time on the program, isn't it? How about that? And we're gonna find out a little about the lady. Dwaila, where are you from?
Well, I guess you'd say Ripley's the Briar Patch where I was born and raised. This is home. I was born in the Tippah County Hospital in 1955.
You were?
Yeah.
They used to deliver babies. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
they
used
did.
to deliver babies there myself. You know, it's delivering babies is lots of fun. It's 99% boring and 1% stark terror. You know, when you're sitting up there waiting for something to happen, you're just sitting back, and then the rest of the time it's madness and mayhem.
I bet it is. It's just, you know, I remember when I had my children, a doctor told me, so you just lay up here for a couple hours. He went straight drink coffee.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, you have to. You have to go about your business till they say, come and catch it.
Yeah.
I've heard, I don't know if it's a rumor or if it's true, that they may be going to start doing deliveries at Tippah County Hospital again.
I hope they do.
I've heard that. If they can get a good OBGYN, that would be wonderful.
Yes,
you know,
it would.
That's how you really build your hospital up, is a place where people have babies. You know, I think our hospital started to go down in the side of the community when we stopped doing that, because and it was all because of malpractice insurance, that people couldn't afford to pay those high premiums. So everybody that was in primary care basically had to stop doing the deliveries. And the hospital, because we didn't have an OBGYN, they couldn't do the deliveries. And, you know, you tend to go to the hospital where your child is born for your tubal and your hysterectomy and, you know, wherever your children are being taken care
That's
of.
right.
And so, you know, I think that would build our hospital up quicker than anything to get back to doing that. And I'm sorry to get off the track.
I think you're right. That's not off the track.
It is off the track, because you were going, where were you born? And we went from that
That's okay.
to delivery
That's okay.
and stuff.
Well, then you grew up in Tippah County.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
And were you city or country?
Very rural.
Very rural.
One of those situations where you have to have sunlight piped in, you know, so far back in the woods.
Well, you still live there, don't you?
Well, fairly close.
Close.
Yeah, I was brought up in Whittentown, which is in the western part of the county, not far from the Benton County line, and that's where I call home. Right now, I actually live technically in Gravestown or Shady Grove, but Whittentown's where I was born and reared.
You know, it's something different about living in the country. You just, there's a wholesomeness about it. It just is. The country people, of course, I'm from town, so I don't count. I was raised in town. But country people live a more, I don't know if it's a healthier life or a simpler life. You know,
well, I think that
not as
used to
much
be
hubbub.
true. I
Not
think
as much
that
hubbub.
used to be true, Daryl, but I don't know that is exactly the case anymore.
Really?
You know, no, I mean, the air is probably cleaner, but, you know, people out in the country have all the problems and vices and you know, things that city people have because of TV and all the social media, stuff that goes on, and there's just as much meanness that goes on out in the country as it is in town. I promise you. They can hide easier there, I think.
Well, I was thinking when you live in the country, you work a garden. Used to they lived off the land, and in town, you don't have room for a garden. I mean, you grow a tomato plant in the flower bed if you've got space,
But a lot of country people don't have gardens anymore.
That's true.
They don't.
That's true.
I
I tell you, a lot of it's your older folks are not able, and your younger folks, most of them, they work in factories now. And if they know how, they don't have time. You get home from the factory, you give out. It's over. So, I mean, back in the farm days, when you weren't in the fields, and it was off season, whatever, it worked out, you planted your food. But now, you go to the store and you buy your food. They get off at the factory, and most of the time, it's about dark, so it's the way it is. Different way of life. Dwaila, who were your parents?
My daddy was Terry South, Sr., and my mother is Velma. She was a McCowan, and she was 93 about a week ago.
She's still living?
Still living.
Bless your heart. Okay. Was it a big family?
I don't know. I would say no. There were three of us. I was kind of a menopause baby. I don't know. My sister is 19 or 20 years older than I am. My brother, who is deceased, would be about 15 years older than me if he was living. So my mother and daddy used to say that I was an accident, sort of a happy. Well, a menopause baby, so to speak.
Yes. I tell you, that's to start over 20 years later. That is something, isn't it?
It's a real shock.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
You think you're ready for? Well, you are. If your oldest child is, right at 20. Then you think, well, I'm ready for grandchildren and ready to do the things that I've been putting off doing.
That's right.
In my mother's case, she never did any public work at all as long as she had children at home. And so I think she probably would have gone to work had I not come along, and then I was work. So she stayed at home and raised me, and didn't ever do a public job until I got in college. And then she started. She worked in a sewing factory some, and then later on she was the manager of the Ripley High School cafeteria.
Bless your heart. What did your dad do?
Well, Daddy was, I would say, a jack of all trades. If you were to ask him what he did, he would probably say that he was a general flunky. He'd probably say that. But he was, he could do anything. And it's not just me saying my daddy could do anything. He literally could. He was a good plumber, electrician. Those were his two primary sources of income. He farmed. He raised all sorts of animals. He could build a house from the ground up. He could do pretty much anything. And I would just, if you had to put a one-word label on it, I'd say he was a contractor. But he liked to say that I helped him plumb. So I'd go to work with him and learn about that.
Now, I heard in the beauty shop, we hear all kind of stuff, that you was with him, that you worked hard when you were young. I heard that.
Well, yeah, my daddy didn't let you sit down. He thought that if you weren't up moving around, something was wrong. And it's like what you were talking about, people in the country. Daddy would go to work every morning and work, building a house or doing plumbing work or electrical work or whatever. And then when he would get home, he'd crawl on the tractor and go plow. And we had hogs, lots of hogs, and and catfish ponds. He had like 6 catfish ponds, and we'd go feed the catfish, and we'd go feed the hogs, and you know, he was a bird fancier. He had lots of different types of birds. So I mean, just when he'd get home, it was a different kind of work. He thought it was relaxation, but he made extra income, and with that, I like to say that catfish and hogs were the way that he got extra money to send me to school. Literally.
Which not everybody had that advantage to get to go to school
Yeah.
in those days, especially a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
the girls
Daddy
were-
thought I could, he said, you can do anything you want to. Mother'd say,
That's
oh,
right. That's right.
you can't be a doctor. She never believed that I would carry it through. But Daddy always said, well, she can do anything. She can, and really, I tell patients this every day, you know, when we're talking about hearts and lungs and the neuro system. It's just a different kind of plumbing and wiring, what we do in medicine. Because people, we have plumbing, we have a digestive system, we have wiring, we have a neuro system. So it's just a different kind, and it helps to understand the mechanics of it.
Well, that makes sense. You know, when you're brought up to work, it comes natural to you, doesn't it? It does me.
Yeah, I feel guilty when I'm sitting down. You know, the other night had come home and for some reason my legs were tired that day. I think I had made one too many steps, and it was still daylight outside. and I sat down on the couch, and Roger was looking at something on TV, and I looked outside and I said, it's still daylight. I need to be outside working, you know. And I told him, I said, I feel guilty because I'm sitting down.
Did he tell you to sit and relax?
He said, shut up.
I bet he did. Well, tell me where you went to school.
Okay, I went to Ripley School all the
Ripley
12
High
years. Right, Ripley Elementary, back when the elementary school is where the Presbyterian Church is now. I got to go to that. Most people my age remember that place. When the schools consolidated, then that actually became where they had Country Junction. They had that down there for a long time, and then they tore that building down and the Presbyterian Church was built. But that's where I went to elementary school, and I graduated from Ripley High School in '73, and that means that we have a 40th anniversary next year. So we got to figure something out about having a get together, because we're not doing that. You know, our class needs to do that. So if anybody in my class is out there, help us get that going.
Okay. Did you always want to be a doctor?
I believe so. I can't really remember. The only other things I ever thought of were kind of far-fetched. Things like, well, I might want to be an archaeologist and go to Egypt, and you know, it was always something unusual like that I would think about.
I don't think I want to go out there and dig in them caves, no.
Well, I used to think I wanted to do that, but basically, I always kind of wanted to be a doctor, and I think we talked about this the other time, that Dr. Mooney was sort of my inspiration.
Well, one more question. Let's try to get in before the commercial. Did you consider going to a big town to make more money? No,
no. I am so homey. I don't know what the word is. You know, when I get in a big city, it just kind of, you can't. It just closes in on you. I didn't ever want to do that. And that was one reason that I went into primary care, because I mean, when you do that, you can go wherever you want to. You can go home, or you can go to a big city. But if you're just say a neurosurgeon or whatever, you're going to have to be in some place like Memphis or Tupelo, somewhere like that.
Well, I just wondered about that. Our time is called us to a commercial.
Oh, okay, good.
Tony cut us to a commercial.
The 68th Annual Tippah County Fair, August 4th through the 11th. Admission is only $5 per person each night. Tuesday night is free for students. and armbands Tuesday night are only $10 per person. So come on out and enjoy some good family fun. For more information, call 837-8184. The 68th Annual Tippah County Fair, August 4th through the 11th.
If you or a loved one are in need of rehabilitation services or long-term care placement, then you should consider contacting Rest Haven Health and Rehab today by calling 837-3062. Rest Haven is a nursing facility where hands bring hearts together. Rest Haven has the right nurses that work in conjunction with local physicians to deliver the best possible care along with the right atmosphere for you and your loved ones. Rest Haven also provides therapy services daily in the right way by offering physical, occupational, and speech therapy. The right nursing staff along with the right atmosphere and the right therapy department equals Rest Haven Health and Rehab, located at 103 Cunningham Drive. Rest Haven has been committed to providing services to the people of Tippah County and the surrounding area for over 30 years, and is proud to say that they continue to provide services in the right way for the right reasons. So please call 837-3062 today and let the staff of Rest Haven assist you. Again, call 837-3062. Magnolia State Family Medicine, Health Center and Medical Spa. Providing modern medicine with Southern hospitality. That's Magnolia State Family Medicine. 100% veteran owned and operated. Bethel University Physician Assistant Program affiliated. Magnolia State Family Medicine. Dr. Christopher J. M. Cummins, Medical Doctor.
Come visit your local Food Giant grocery store. We have a wide variety of meats, produce, and deli entrees, all at discount prices.
Paying too much for phone service? Then it's time to switch to DixieNet, where you can get unlimited local calling for less than $25 a month. And that's an everyday low price, not a promotional price. With a DixieNet phone line, you can get unlimited local calling, call forwarding, call waiting, three-way calling, and caller ID. DixieNet, 800-918-9023. This program brought to you by Cardinal Drive-In.
Cardinal Drive-In, 1807 City Avenue North, Ripley. Cardinal Drive-In, 837-2970.
I'm glad you stayed with us. We are in the studio today with Dr. Dwaila South. Dwaila, you're married
Yes.
recently. How
Well-
long you been married?
October of last year.
Right, you're just a newlywed.
Relatively,
Oh,
so yeah.
Yes, yes. Do you have children?
I have two boys. I have Jesse, who is 31, and Jack, who just turned 25 a couple weeks ago.
You have grandchildren?
I have one grandchild, JC. My sons their surname is Williams. My first husband was Chard Williams. And so their dad was a Williams, and therefore Jesse and Jack are Williams. And JC, my granddaughter, is 5, JC Williams.
J.C. Williams. She comes over and eats cookies. No, your doctor. She eats apples and milk.
She eats whatever she can get her hands on, you know. You know how that goes.
We feed ours cookies and milk. You probably feed apples and milk.
Usually chicken
And,
nuggets and
And
chocolate chip cookies
you
or
know,
whatever.
when we were young, we dreamed about having these grandkids, and we was gonna feed them cookies and milk and send them home.
Oh, yeah.
That don't work that way. Nah.
Yeah, it
That
does
works.
too. It works good.
Does it work for me? They have a birthday, mail them a check, you know.
Yeah.
It's all right. No, I thoroughly enjoyed my grandchildren. Now I did more than I did my children. But you're
like the guy that says, if I'd known how much I was going to enjoy my
better
grandchildren, I would have had them first.
That's right. You know, grandchildren are a lot less trouble than children. Yes. See, when it really gets tough, you send them home. You know, don't do it. Send them home. See, with your children, you are home.
She's got figured out.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Oh, I had all my grandkids. I kept my grandchildren a lot. I enjoyed them, and I learned. My son-in-law, you'd go over there and you say, "Oh, can Amber call with me?" He'd say, "Well, she better stay here." So instead of that, I learned to say, "Oh, Tom, Amber's going home with me." He said, "Well, okay." You get them anytime you want them. See, it works. It just works.
I need to take Daryl lessons. Grandma lessons.
Oh, this grandma stuff's fun. Oh, yes, yes. It's
My
fun.
granddaughter, I told her to call me Big Mama because I called my grandmother, Dora Lee McCowan, I called her Big Mama. So I decided that I wanted my grandchildren to call me Big Mama because I was so enthralled with my own Big Mama. And I've been trying to groom her to call me that. And I asked my own mother, I said, "How did I get started calling her Big Mama?" And she said, "Well, one day she and I took you to see Dr. Mooney, and she was going to give you a shot." And Dr. Mooney said, "Well, who do you want to hold you while I give you the shot? Your little mama or your big mama?" And so Dr. Mooney gave my grandmother that name. And so I try to get JC to call me Big Mama, but she never has. She calls me Big.
Big.
And at first, she couldn't say big. She called me
Bless her
Bag.
heart.
She said, "Bag." When she comes in the door, she goes, "Big, big." So
I just want mine
That's-
to call me. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just call me, call me. I'm going to be a great-grandmother. Oh, yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Oh man. Fun stuff. Yes. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Oh, I was interested in how you started out to be, you were a wife, a mother, a grandmother, a doctor, and a wife again. Oh, yeah, yeah. And now you're a roadie.
Yes,
Yeah, Ronnie said you were a roadie. Oh, yeah.
for the three old men, yes.
Yes, yes. And
A groupie.
They came in here, and she's just toting this stuff in, and she just, they need something. She said, "Oh, I'll get it, you know."
Well, that's a factor of being about
She's
10
tough.
years younger than those guys are.
is
I
that
can
what it
just
is?
move a little better than they can.
In case anyone doesn't know it, she married one of the three old men. And that's they're a singing group, and they've been on the Jeter family program several times. We've got to get them back, and they get feeling a little better. You know, that's the only thing about old men. They get where they don't feel good. You have to.
Is
look
that a
around.
fact?
Yeah, they do. They don't feel- See, and now Roger told me that you were his doctor.
Yes,
I said, "You just should pray your wife. She's my doctor," he said. I think he was staking his claim.
yeah, probably so.
It just belongs to me. But she married one of the three old men. And have you always liked music?
Well, I don't. I've always loved listening to music and just enjoying music. I don't actually. The only thing I play is a record player. I mean, I can play a song.
I can,
You know,
yeah.
I love it. I don't have any musical ability really, but I enjoy it. So.
Have you ever been at church and everybody's going this way, and there's somebody that when their hands are all that way, their hands this way?
Yeah.
That's me. That's me. Yeah.
You're saying you don't have any rhythm? Is that
None
what
at
you're
all.
saying?
None at all.
But I actually did lead the singing at our church for a while.
Great.
Yeah, by default, really, there was what really happened was that our piano player was Hazel Huddleston, who's married to Bud, and Bud is a cousin of mine.
Yeah.
And so Hazel was our piano player, and she passed away. So we had no piano player, and nobody likes to do canned music at church.
No.
They like the piano player. So there was, and this is a problem that's happening in little small
It is.
country
It is.
churches, of all denominations.
It is.
People don't take music lessons or learn to play the piano anymore because they're so dependent on iPods
They are.
and canned music and singing along with CDs and what do they call that? Karaoke at church
Yeah,
and stuff like
yes.
that. And so at the time, my daughter-in-law at the time, I knew that she could play the piano, and she said, I asked her, I said, why don't you play the piano for us at church? And she said, well, I never have done that before, but I will on one condition, and that is that you lead the singing and you practice with me. And so that's how I got involved in that, and we did that for a couple of years.
And the first service, nobody got up and walked out.
No, but they were going
done
like
good.
this. Right?
You done good.
They were
good.
going, woo!
They're really good.
No, but
No,
we got through it.
Now, truly, everything that I have learned to do, I mean, recitation, tambourine, everything, Tate Jeter has taught me, because I knew nothing.
Yeah, and when you listen to musicians talk about how they got started, particularly in the South, I would say 3/4 of them say, I got my start in music at church. You know, I mean, whether it's Elvis or whoever it is, that's when you get music instilled in you at a young age, it goes with you through life.
It does, and I don't know Tate. I think it's just in him, you know. It just, he was a little kid, played the guitar, you know, just.
But somebody in
across the
his
country.
youth.
Yes, it was. I'll tell you how he learned to play. He told me. It's gossip when I tell it, isn't it? It was a colored man that lived across the way, and he toted his little guitar over there. And he would walk over there barefoot, and that man taught him to play. And if I remember right, he was blind.
Well,
The
he
man
couldn't
was
have had a better
blind.
teacher then.
And that man took time for that little kid that he's probably there pestering him to death, you know how. but he would go over there, and that man took time for him and taught him to play the guitar.
Blind musicians are amazing. They have special abilities
are.
that other
They
people
are.
don't have, because parts of their brain develop and grow to tremendous proportions in what they're talented in doing. Just is amazing. You know, you think about
It is.
blind piano players and blind guitarists. Their talent is amazing.
It is.
So
It is.
he's lucky to have had that opportunity.
He
to
is.
get-
And the ability, I think, is kind of you got to have that talent. He tried to teach me. That was cute. It went on for years. I did learn to do the chords, but I never could know when to change them.
Yeah.
And truly, you know, I think some of that has to be, you just have to have that talent.
Oh, I agree with that. Yeah,
And-
I would say you're right there.
All them Jeters has got it. It's just born in them. I don't know how they just born that way. But he's done well with it. Now he has. And
I enjoy the Jeter Show. I just
we
love
enjoy
to
doing
watch
it. We
that.
really do. But we've got off track. Now that is
Okay.
off track.
That's okay.
Yes. And I was going to ask you, since you got to be a roadie, then you answered the phone one time too. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
She had her a good job there, and she let it go. What'd you do there?
I let it. What do you mean?
Yeah,
I
it
let
got
it go?
away from you. I had to see you do it again.
Well, that was by default again. There was nobody here to answer the phone that night, and so, you know, it just fell on
Just
me to do
happened.
that. It was fun.
See,
That
now
was a lot
what
of fun.
happens when you're a doctor in a small town? See, whatever nobody wants to do, they say, "Oh, by the way, Dwaila."
Well, I'm kind of like my daddy that way. I'll tackle anything, you know. That's why I went into general practice. But you know, they do say that the general practitioners learn less and less and less about more and more and more things until finally they know nothing about everything. And specialists learn more and more and more about fewer and fewer things until finally they know everything about nothing. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you can go to
Yeah.
Campbell's Clinic and go to a big toe doctor, you know, or a doctor who just operates on one hip. You know, there are surgeons there that only operate on the right hip, and they'll do a hip replacement. The right hip doctor will do the right hip, the left hip doctor will do the left. Now
I didn't
that's
know
a
that.
specialist.
I didn't know that.
That's real.
My
That's
land.
real.
Well, Dwaila, we've run up on commercial time
Okay.
again. Time to cut us to a commercial.
Magnolia State Family Medicine, Health Center and Medical Spa. Providing modern medicine with Southern hospitality. That's Magnolia State Family Medicine. 100% veteran owned and operated. Bethel University Physician Assistant Program affiliated. Magnolia State Family Medicine. Dr. Christopher J. M. Cummins, Medical Doctor. This program brought to you by Cardinal Drive-In.
Cardinal Drive-In, 1807 City Avenue North, Ripley. Cardinal Drive-In, 837-2970.
Come visit your local Food Giant grocery store. We have a wide variety of meats, produce, and deli entrees, all at discount prices.
If you or a loved one are in need of rehabilitation services or long-term care placement, then you should consider contacting Rest Haven Health and Rehab today by calling 837-3062. Rest Haven is a nursing facility where hands bring hearts together. Rest Haven has the right nurses that work in conjunction with local physicians to deliver the best possible care along with the right atmosphere for you and your loved ones. Rest Haven also provides therapy services daily in the right way by offering physical, occupational, and speech therapy. The right nursing staff along with the right atmosphere and the right therapy department equals Rest Haven Health and Rehab, located at 103 Cunningham Drive. Rest Haven has been committed to providing services to the people of Tippah County and the surrounding area for over 30 years and is proud to say that they continue to provide services in the right way for the right reasons. So please call 837-3062 today and let the staff of Rest Haven assist you. Again, call 837-3062.
The 68th Annual Tippah County Fair, August 4th through the 11th. Admission is only $5 per person each night. Tuesday night is free for students, and armbands Tuesday night are only $10 per person. So come on out and enjoy some good family fun. For more information, call 837-8184. The 68th Annual Tippah County Fair, August 4th through the 11th.
Paying too much for phone service? Then it's time to switch to DixieNet, where you can get unlimited local calling for less than $25 a month. And that's an everyday low price, not a promotional price. With a DixieNet phone line, you can get unlimited local calling, call forwarding, call waiting, three-way calling, and caller ID. DixieNet, 800-918-9023.
Welcome back. We are just sitting here chatting about all kind of stuff with Dwaila South. we keep saying we're sidetracked, but there's not any sides to this chat. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. Tell us before you got to be a roadie. No, a groupie, for the three old men. As you were coming up, Ron was telling me that your dad ventured off in all kind of things
Oh, yeah.
to make money.
Yeah, he did. He was also an unlicensed veterinarian. I would tell him he was a quack veterinarian.
A quack.
Because he just had a lot of good common sense about animals, and he raised all types of animals, and you know, if we had an animal to die on the farm, he would perform an autopsy on it to find out what was wrong with it. I mean, he would cut them open and go, well, here's what it was. But people would call him to come to their house, like if they had a cow having a calf that, it was stuck and it couldn't have it, and people would call him, and we'd go out in the middle of the night and pull a calf or whatever. And I told him, I said, the only reason they call you Daddy is because you'll come at all hours and you don't care how nasty you get. You'll get down in the manure and do whatever. And then if the cow goes ahead and dies, then you don't charge them. So
Well, now that's a plus.
that's a plus.
Yes, that's a plus.
But we did a lot of veterinary work too, and you have to if you've got animals on your farm.
Well,
I mean,
right.
one thing that we never had too much of though was cows, because Daddy never was good at fencing. We never had a real good fence. We had a farrowing house, I guess you'd say, for hogs. We had like a birthing center for hogs, but we never raised cows because Daddy couldn't keep the fence going for some reason. They were always out, and his quote was, "The only thing dumber than a cow is a person that raises cows." So he never we never had cattle.
Wasn't into the cow.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little about the mice thing.
The mice thing, and I hadn't thought about that in years. Daddy, he was always thinking of entrepreneurial ideas to make money, and somebody gave him a couple of these great big white lab rats. Happened to be a male and a female, which he said, well, we're going to raise rats and we're going to sell them to the universities for experiments and medical research. And so 2 rats soon became 20, and 20 soon became, I really don't know how many. It got really out of hand. Daddy was spending more time making cages for them, and he could never get the market established because the universities and the medical centers, they don't have a problem raising them either. You know how they reproduce.
No market.
So they didn't want our farm-raised rats. They wanted their lab-raised rats. Then he decided he was going to sell them to the zoo to feed the zoo animals. But it still got out of hand, and we ended up getting out of the rat business. Because he was going. We go to the co-op and buy Purina rat chow. And, I mean, they actually make that. Did you know that? They make Purina rat chow.
I did
and
not.
We'd buy that. And when we were buying more Purina rat chow than we were buying Purina fish feed for our fish ponds, he said, this has got to stop. So we got out of the rat business.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Isn't that something? I can't imagine building nests and boxes and stuff for rats, but I guess
He just
they're
loved
trying
it.
to make money.
Yeah.
Trying to make money. You do whatever you have to do to make a living.
It was not a successful venture.
Well,
I mean, it was very successful in one sense, but we didn't have a market for rats.
but it was
around here.
fun. It's a fun memory, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a fun memory. And now, being a lot like her dad, Dwaila does all kind of different stuff. She doctors, she wives, she mothers, she grandmothers, and then she's got another little hobby. We talked about it on the last program, and one of the things she has a book. She wrote a book. Tell the name of it. I still can't say it right.
Una voce. It means it's a direction you give to a choir to sing with one voice. This translates into one voice, but it's really, like you say, una voce. That means for everybody to sing together. And that was the intent of this, because it was for the doctors of the state. The stories were originally written for the state's doctors.
Now I assume that no longer it's been, the book's still available.
Yes, don't have many copies left. It's available in Ripley and Blue Mountain for local people, and also in Ashland. I'll tell you the places. You can call this a commercial if you want to.
It's all
or
right.
not.
It's all right.
Ripley Drug, Bobby Mays handles them. At the Grapevine Village.
Oh, I love the Grapevine.
Yeah, I love the Grapevine
Yes,
Village.
yes.
You can get them there.
Sweetest
and
people in the world. Yes, sweetest lady.
Oh, and I miss Tommy so much.
Oh,
And
yes. Yeah,
Miss Mary
sweetest
Jane.
lady,
They're
sweetest lady.
so sweet.
Yeah.
And then at Ashland, you can get them at Mike's Family Jewels. In Blue Mountain, you can get them at the college bookstore or the Pineapple Shop.
Did you expect them to sell so fast?
I'm
they're great.
I'm pleased. I'm very pleased. They're also available on Amazon.com, and you can also, if you have a Kindle, one of those little things where you can electronic things,
Yeah.
you can get it on Kindle as well.
That's a neat book. I read it. All right. Since now you're a well-known author.
Not quite.
Well. We're getting you well-known. We're telling. Okay. This is not your first writing, is it?
What do you mean?
Well, I did some looking up. Look there. I dug out some stuff, yes. You wrote something at one time about how to be a better patient. Briefly tell us about that.
Well, you've pulled something from way out of the past there.
I found it.
How to be a better patient.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I wish I had
what-
a copy, yes.
Well, let me say something before we go into that. When you're talking about the
Yes.
book, what kills me about it now that a lot of people have read it and stuff, they'll say, "I got that book, and I sat up all night long, or I
did.
sat up all weekend long, and I
Yes.
read that book."
Love it.
And it's like, you read it at one time, all at one time.
It's 'cause you can't put it down.
Well, and then they'll turn around and they'll say, "When are you going to have another one?" I said, "You don't have any idea. I mean, I can't just pull that out of the air. It takes a long time to."
Oh, I remember
come
I
up
was
with that
reading
stuff.
that, and Tate'd say, "You're not talking to that." I was like, "Shh, I'm reading."
But how to be a better patient? You tell me
Yes.
the parts of that
Yes.
intrigued you, and we'll go
Well,
off
I
on that.
want to know about that. I don't know much about it. I done good. I found out it was there.
Oh,
I don't know a lot about it, and I wish I had a copy of it. But I found that you had written a couple of things. Yes. And I want to know, I assume it's how to be a better patient.
oh well, that was just
Yes.
an article. I think you're talking about that recent article that I did for the Tupelo Journal. But I have had some on that subject
That's
in
the one.
olden days.
That's the one I found. I found it on the internet.
Oh, okay. But I don't think a doctor who has not been a patient themselves is a full-fledged doctor, because you until you've been on the other side of the stethoscope, you can't really appreciate what you're putting people through and what people are going through. I see some terrible, terrible things and terrible situations and things that go on in people's lives in my practice. And sometimes I'm not ever shocked anymore. After 30 years in this business, I mean, you don't get shocked. And I tell people, don't be afraid to tell me. It doesn't matter how terrible it is. I probably have heard it before, or I'm not going to be shocked by what you say. I'm going to try to be empathetic with you. And you can never be a good doctor until you can empathize or sympathize. And I understand it, when a patient tells me something about, well, maybe they'll say, my heel is killing me. I've got something like a spur. And you go through what you need to do, and you say, well, I've had that. I know how that feels, and it feels terrible. When you get up in the morning, and the first thing when you put your foot on the ground is you go, oh! If you can relate to that person's problem, then they can relate to you, and they're more likely to listen to what you've got to say than if you go, okay, well, let me look it up. This is what the book says you need to do. You tell them what you did when it happened to you. But one thing I'll say right now about being a patient and being a better patient, you can have terrible things going on in your own life as a doctor. I mean, you're not immune to dysfunctional families and things like that. Having, do you know the definition, Daryl, of a dysfunctional family?
Mm-mm.
A dysfunctional family is a family that has more than one person in it. That means that all families are dysfunctional. I had a friend to tell me one time, said, do you know what dysfunctional means? Do you know what that means? I said, yeah, I think I do. He says, well, I'll tell you, if you don't know, get the Webster's Dictionary out, go to the D's, go to the DY's, and when you see a picture of my family there as an
That's it.
illustration, you'll find the definition of a dysfunctional family. And I thought that was a good quote. But when you're feeling sorry for yourself, or what's going on in your life, or how hard you think you're working, or what's worrying you, or this money problem, or somebody's gossiping about you, or whatever, and you think you've got trouble, you go to work. I go to work and I start listening to the things that are bothering other people about having to decide between whether they buy food or their medicine this month, or things like child abuse that's going on in a family, or child neglect, or things like that, then my problems just become nothing. Other people's problems are, and I can forget all about my problems when I'm listening to someone else's problems, because my problems are so small compared to that.
We're going to have to break for a commercial. We'll be right back.
The 68th Annual Tippah County Fair, August 4th through the 11th. Admission is only $5 per person each night. Tuesday night is free for students, and armbands Tuesday night are only $10 per person. So come on out and enjoy some good family fun. For more information, call 837-8184. The 68th Annual Tippah County Fair, August 4th through the 11th.
This program brought to you by Cardinal Drive-In.
Cardinal Drive-In, 1807 City Avenue North, Ripley. Cardinal Drive-In, 837-2970.
If you or a loved one are in need of rehabilitation services or long-term care placement, then you should consider contacting Rest Haven Health and Rehab today by calling 837-3062. Rest Haven is a nursing facility where hands bring hearts together. Rest Haven has the right nurses that work in conjunction with local physicians to deliver the best possible care along with the right atmosphere for you and your loved ones. Rest Haven also provides therapy services daily in the right way by offering physical, occupational, and speech therapy. The right nursing staff along with the right atmosphere and the right therapy department equals Rest Haven Health and Rehab, located at 103 Cunningham Drive. Rest Haven has been committed to providing services to the people of Tippah County and the surrounding area for over 30 years, and is proud to say that they continue to provide services in the right way for the right reasons. So please call 837-3062 today and let the staff of Rest Haven assist you. Again, call 837-3062. Paying too much for phone service? Then it's time to switch to DixieNet, where you can get unlimited local calling for less than $25 a month. And that's an everyday low price, not a promotional price. With a DixieNet phone line, you can get unlimited local calling, call forwarding, call waiting, three-way calling, and caller ID. DixieNet, 800-918-9023.
Come visit your local Food Giant grocery store. We have a wide variety of meats, produce, and deli entrees, all at discount prices.
Magnolia State Family Medicine, Health Center and Medical Spa. providing modern medicine with Southern hospitality. That's Magnolia State Family Medicine, 100% veteran-owned and operated. Bethel University Physician Assistant Program affiliated. Magnolia State Family Medicine. Dr. Christopher J. M. Cummins, Medical Doctor.
Welcome back. We're glad you stayed with us. We're just chatting with Dr. Dwaila South. And really, we're just chatting. We're just chatting about
Yes,
all
we
kind of
are.
stuff.
We're yakking.
It's just kind of a fun thing. But we were talking about being a better patient.
Mm-hmm.
I figure that's on the heart of all these doctors. If we'd behave better, they could doctor better. I had the thought, when I read it, I thought about, we're terrible patients. If I get a headache, I'll just go take aspirin. And if it don't ease up, I might go take me another one. I mean,
If one's
you
good,
know.
two's better, right?
You say, well, this prescription says take one every 4 hours. And I don't know, sometimes you get thinking, well, that ain't enough, and you'll take one more. And that, you can get in all kinds. And then
Yeah.
some days I might feel good, I might not take one.
Well, in that article that you're talking about, and many of the people that are listening may have read it, and it's giving patients advice about planning to go to the doctor. I've got this pet peeve of people. I want them to bring me either a list of everything that they're currently taking, including herbal things and over-the-counter things that they forget are medicine. People forget that ibuprofen, for years was a prescription drug.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I go far enough back that I remember when ibuprofen first came on the market, it was the miracle drug for arthritis. And it was by prescription only. People would come to the doctor, I want that new miracle drug for arthritis. And now you can go to the dollar store and buy
Well,
it.
that's right.
But everybody thinks that things that they can buy without a prescription are perfectly safe. And that's not true. For instance, aspirin. There isn't a drug in the world that has more potential for side effects or potential drug interactions or harm or peptic ulcers or what. There isn't anything that carries more risk than taking aspirin, but we recommend it all the time. But you have to do it in a wise fashion. Back to the ibuprofen and the Aleve and stuff like that. People forget those used to be prescription drugs. And there's no such thing as a drug that has potent effects that doesn't also have potent side effects. So I guess my point, what I'm saying is, remember that those things are drugs. Just because you can buy them without a prescription don't mean they're not drugs. And don't mean that they can't give you problems. They can raise your blood pressure. They can cause bleeding ulcers. They can do kidney damage. There's a link to potential, cardiac problems. I need to know you're taking it. Because what if you were taking 6 or 8 ibuprofens a day and I didn't know it, and I gave you Celebrex, which is another arthritis drug? Well, that would be like putting gas on a fire. That'd be over-egging the pudding, so to speak, if I don't know. So one of those things is bring me a list of what you're taking, both prescription and non-prescription. Or better yet, bring me a sack with everything in it that you're taking. Because I can see it with my own eyes. Don't come in and say, I take a blue pill for my blood pressure and a white pill for my arthritis. I mean, be an educated patient, because putting me in the dark doesn't help you. So that was one of the things, bringing that and coming prepared to help me, work with you.
That is a big thing. It's bigger than what people think. You get to the doctor and you expect them to, people say, well, I go to the doctor and first thing they say is, what's wrong with you? Well, they don't have a clue unless we tell them they don't live at our house. We kind of expect our doctors to have second ESP or something, just know stuff. But they don't know what you're going through if you don't tell them. That's true. That's true. And they don't know what you're taking. They don't know how you feel. And I try not to be a whiner, but when I go to the doctor, I whine.
Well,
Just say, oh, this is my problem.
Sometime I'll come back and we'll do a whole show
Oh,
about
yes,
how to
we
be
will.
a better patient, because there's 10 or 12 big things that you can do that will help you when you go to the doctor. Don't leave without asking questions.
Well, now, we're plumb out of time, and I look forward to that.
Are you
I
kidding
truly
me?
do.
We're out of time?
We are out of time. And, I've enjoyed this so much.
Well, I've enjoyed it too. I just love talking to you. You're so
That's
easy
fine.
to talk to, and time just slips
Well,
away.
thank you. Don't forget the Jeter Family Program, Saturday night at 7. I do hope you'll tune us in again next Monday at 7 o'clock for Daryl's Little Corner. May God bless.
Magnolia State Family Medicine, Health Center and Medical Spa. Providing modern medicine with Southern hospitality. That's Magnolia State Family Medicine. 100% veteran owned and operated. Bethel University Physician Assistant Program affiliated. Magnolia State Family Medicine. Dr. Christopher J.M. Cummins, Medical Doctor.
Come visit your local Food Giant grocery store. We have a wide variety of meats, produce, and deli entrees, all at discount prices.
If you or a loved one are in need of rehabilitation services or long-term care placement, then you should consider contacting Rest Haven Health and Rehab today by calling 837-3062. Rest Haven is a nursing facility where hands bring hearts together. Rest Haven has the right nurses that work in conjunction with local physicians to deliver the best possible care along with the right atmosphere for you and your loved ones. Rest Haven also provides therapy services daily in the right way by offering physical, occupational, and speech therapy. The right nursing staff along with the right atmosphere and the right therapy department equals Rest Haven Health and Rehab, located at 103 Cunningham Drive. Rest Haven has been committed to providing services to the people of Tippah County and the surrounding area for over 30 years, and is proud to say that they continue to provide services in the right way for the right reasons. So please call 837-3062 today and let the staff of Rest Haven assist you. Again, call 837-3062. This program brought to you by Cardinal Drive-In.
Cardinal Drive-In, 1807 City Avenue North, Ripley. Cardinal Drive-In, 837-2970.
The 68th Annual Tippah County Fair, August 4th through the 11th. Admission is only $5 per person each night. Tuesday night is free for students, and armbands Tuesday night are only $10 per person. So come on out and enjoy some good family fun. For more information, call 837-8184. The 68th Annual Tippah County Fair, August 4th through the 11th.
Paying too much for phone service? Then it's time to switch to DixieNet, where you can get unlimited local calling for less than $25 a month. And that's an everyday low price, not a promotional price. With a DixieNet phone line, you can get unlimited local calling, call forwarding, call waiting, three-way calling, and caller ID. DixieNet, 800-918-9023.